I cannot reveal where this document is from or who gave it to me, but after reading the entire thing, I realized that there was no way I could keep it to myself. Becky Taylor, age 9. Interview transcript. Date and time 7/16/91, 4:25 p.m. Location Mandeville Field Office. Interviewer Special Agent Graham Erickson. Erickson enters. Becky?
Hi.
My name is Graham. I just spoke with your mom. She's going to be waiting right outside the door in case you need her, okay? But just so you know, she can't hear us. No one can hear us. This room is soundproof. I thought it might be easier for you to tell me what happened, if you knew that.
Are you also a detective?
I'm a special agent. It's sort of like a detective, but it comes with a cooler badge. Erickson removes his wallet and flashes his badge.
Cool.
Told ya. Erickson removes a photo from a manila folder, slides it across the table. Now, Becky, can you tell me who this man is?
That's Tara's dad, Dr. D. He's the one who took us into the woods.
How do you feel about Dr. D? Do you like him? Becky looks down. It's all right, Becky. No one's gonna know what we talk about in here, unless you say they can. I promise, okay? But I need you to be honest with me. It's the only chance we have of finding your friends.
It doesn't matter how much I tell you. You won't find them.
You told the detectives that you didn't like Tara's dad. Why is that?
Because one time I went swimming over there, and Dr. D made us play this swimsuit model game, and we had to pose for pictures, and it was really weird, and then Tara started crying.
Did you tell any of this to your mom and dad?
No, 'cause Dr. D said the pictures were actually for a prettiest little girl contest he was entering us in, and he wanted it to be a surprise for our parents if we won.
So when you guys found out he was taking you and your friends from your Girl Scout troop on a camping trip, were you worried? Were you afraid he might try to make you play more of these games? Becky shrugs and looks away.
Kinda.
I'm sorry, sweetie. I didn't mean to sound like I was scolding you. I too often do things that make me uncomfortable, simply to avoid having to talk about my feelings, and I'm a grown man. Becky chuckles.
You talk funny.
So I've been told. If you wouldn't mind, run me through what happened once you guys arrived at the designated campsite.
Dr. D said we were on the wrong side of the river, and his live-in girlfriend, Miss Rhonda, she told him the other side was part of an Indian reservation, and we weren't allowed to camp over there, but Dr. D said we wouldn't be able to watch the sunset from the side we were on, so he made us hike back to the footbridge, where we could cross the river. Then Dr. D found us a place to set up camp near the shore, but then it was late, and he made us go to bed right after dinner. Can I have some more of that pizza? I'm still really hungry.
Of course. Erickson gets up, opens the door, says something, returns with pizza and a soda. You're doing great, Becky. So, you set up camp and went to sleep, and then what?
Well, we tried to sleep, but then I woke up because I heard Dr. D and Miss Rhonda in their tent. They were making a bunch of weird noises, and Carrie, who I was sharing my tent with, she started to laugh, and that made me laugh, and then all of a sudden, they stopped making the noises. I thought it was because they heard us laughing, so we stopped. Then Miss Rhonda screamed. It was so scary. Me and Carrie were like, what's going on? And then we heard a gunshot and Dr. D was shouting Tara's name, and then he started yelling at Miss Rhonda, and I looked outside and I saw her running off down the shore of the river.
You saw who running off?
Miss Rhonda. I looked back and saw Tara dead on the ground outside Dr. D's tent. Next to her was the thing he had shot. I thought it was a deer at first because it had those...
Becky motions above her head. Antlers?
Yeah, it had antlers, but it was shaped like a person. It had these really long arms and hair all over its body, and there were more of them in the woods. The fire was still going, and I could see him moving through the trees. Dr. D started screaming again, and he ran off in the same direction as Miss Rhonda. Me and Carrie didn't know what to do, so we followed him because we didn't want to stay at the camp with those things.
Understandable. Were you able to catch up with Dr. D and Miss Rhonda?
Yeah. Us and Jody, the girl who had been sharing a tent with Tara, followed him down the shore until we finally found Miss Rhonda, who was still scared. She started telling Dr. D that he didn't understand and that she saw it. She saw it happen. And then Dr. D yelled at Jody for letting Tara get out of her tent, and Jody said it was because him and Miss Rhonda have been making so much noise. And Tara was just going to ask them to have quieter sex, and Dr. D slapped her.
He slapped a 9-year-old girl?
Yeah.
Jesus, sorry. Go on, honey.
Jody started to cry, and Dr. D looked like he felt bad for hitting her. Miss Rhonda started yelling at him, and he apologized, but then he said Jody needed to learn to watch her sass mouth, and then something about checking on his dead daughter. Then he cocked his gun like they do on TV and tried to walk away. But Miss Rhonda held him back. She told him he was nuts and that he should wait until those things were gone. She said he was going to get the rest of us killed. Then Dr. D slapped her too and started walking back to camp. The things had left by then. They had taken the dead one with them, which made Miss Rhonda really upset. She said it meant they cared, and that was why she was sad. But then Dr. D pointed out that they had also taken the cooler with the rest of our food in it, and Miss Rhonda didn't look so sad anymore. She looked mad. Dr. D covered Tara's body with branches, and then he just stood there and cried for a little while. As soon as the sun came up, he made us pack up everything and start hiking back.
This was Saturday morning? Becky nods.
We were only supposed to be out there for the weekend, but we couldn't find the footbridge we had used to cross the river the day before, and we spent all the next day looking for it. At some point, Miss Rhonda said, "Why don't we just swim across?" And Dr. D told her the river was too rough where we were, and that we needed to hike a few miles upstream before we could even try. We hiked all day, but the river only got wider and more scary looking, which Dr. D said didn't make sense. He had his fishing pole with him, and we took a break so he could try to catch us some dinner. We were really hungry by then.
I bet.
But he couldn't catch anything because something kept stealing his bait. When it started to get dark, Dr. D quit trying and told us to set up camp, but I guess the idea of spending another night in the woods was too much for Carrie because, out of nowhere, she ran into the river and started trying to swim across. Miss Rhonda started to go in after her, but Dr. D held her back, saying she was going to get her dumb ass killed.
What happened to Carrie?
She got about halfway. Then something pulled her under the water, and I watched for a while, but she never came back up. I had some cookies in a Ziploc bag in my backpack that I shared with Jody later, after Dr. D and Miss Rhonda went to sleep. That didn't last long because there was this loud crying sound in the woods that woke them up and kept us all awake for most of the night. The next day, Dr. D said our only choice was to make our way back to the highway through the side of the river that we were on, but it was hard. Most of the forest on that side was really steep and hilly. At first, we stayed on the shore and tried to go around the hilly parts, but it was just like the river. It only got worse the farther we went. Then it started to get dark again, so Dr. D told us to set up camp. He built this rabbit trap out of sticks and grass. He learned how to make it in Boy Scouts, he said. He even managed to catch something, but it wasn't a rabbit. It looked like a tiny black dog, but with feathers instead of fur, and it was really mean. It growled at us the whole way back to camp the next morning, but I didn't care. I was so hungry I would have eaten a dog.
I doubt anyone would have blamed you, Becky.
It doesn't matter because Dr. D gutted it, and the thing was somehow already full of maggots, and he tried to cook it anyway, but it smelled terrible. It made us all sick, so we took it off the fire and threw it in the water.
Just to keep track, this was Monday, right? Becky pauses.
I think so. That was the day Dr. D said we were going to have to find a way through the woods. We were all really quiet when we started up the first hill, I guess because we were all so hungry by then. Dr. D didn't notice me looking over my shoulder at him as he was tripping Jody. She fell back down the hill and broke her neck. Jody was coughing up blood when we got down to her, and she couldn't move her arms or her legs. That's when Dr. D suffocated her with his hands. He said it was an act of mercy, but I saw how Jody tripped, and I know why he did it. And it wasn't just because he blamed her for Tara dying. Jody was also a lot, bigger than me. More meat to go around.
Oh my God. He ate her?
We all did.
Did you tell this to the detectives?
I couldn't help it. We hadn't had any food in days. We couldn't even find berries or anything.
Erickson reaches across the table, places his hand on Becky's. I know.
And she smelled so good on the fire.
It's okay.
It's not okay.
You're right, it's not. It's not okay, but it's not your fault, Becky. None of this is your fault. Can you tell me how you lost your arm?
It was a couple days after Jody died. Whatever day they found me.
Friday.
Then I guess it was Thursday. The antler men had come in the night to take what we didn't eat of Jody, and we spent 3 whole days walking down one hill, then up another one, with nothing to eat and no water left. Dr. D had been whispering to Miss Rhonda all morning. When we stopped to rest for a minute, he saw this tiny scrape on my arm, and he said it was going to get infected and then he had to amputate it or I'd die. I was not going to let him do it, and I tried to run away, but Miss Rhonda jumped on me and held me down. Dr. D told me not to worry, that I wouldn't feel a thing, and I didn't. He injected me with something from his doctor's bag, and I couldn't feel anything, and I couldn't move after a while. I fell asleep, and when I woke up it was nighttime, and I could smell them cooking my arm.
I'm so sorry, Becky.
I saw one of the antler men walking toward me. Dr. D and Miss Rhonda were sitting with their backs to me, and they couldn't see him coming. He had a face almost like a person's, but his eyes were all black, and he didn't have a nose, just these 2 little nostril holes like a lizard, and he was smiling. He bent down and looked me in the eyes, and I could hear him talking in my head, kind of. And I heard him say he was sorry that his brother had killed my friend. He said it was an accident and that we were even now. I was confused at first, but then I heard Dr. D and Miss Rhonda screaming and the sound of them being torn apart. The antler man placed his hand over my eyes, and I heard him to tell me to go to sleep. And when I woke up again, it was morning, and I was next to the footbridge we had used to cross the river. One of the men who found me fainted when he saw my missing arm, and one of the other ones started crying.
I've got to tell you, Becky, in the 12 years I've been doing this job, that is the craziest story I've ever heard.
Does that mean you don't believe me?
It means that if I did, I'd have no way of proving it either way.
A lady came and saw me when I was in the hospital. She said she was a counselor, and we talked for a long time. She was really nice, but after she left, I heard my dad tell my mom that I was going to be messed up in the head for the rest of my life. Do you think I'm messed up in the head?
I think you're a strong, bright young lady who has been through a traumatic event no girl your age should have to endure. That possibly it caused you to imagine certain details as a means of coping. But that doesn't mean you're messed up in the head. Far from it. I think you're going to be just fine.
Then why can't I stop dreaming about them? Every night, it's the same dream. I'm in the woods, and I can hear the antlermen whispering to me. And they tell me terrible things. Why can I still hear them?
I think that's enough, don't you? Interview concludes 4:37 p.m. Agent summation. Minimal risk of exposure. Subject is not credible enough to warrant termination. Recommending she be confined to a mental health facility until the age of 18, just to be on the safe side. On a related note, is there any way we can get these things to stop building fucking bridges?